Hi, welcome to another edition of Mindfulness for Athlete podcast, a podcast brought to you by MW Sports Psychology Consultant Group, where the mission and the purpose of Mindfulness for Athlete podcast is to focus on providing mental and psychological services to athletes that will increase and improve their overall performances, skills, and abilities, and also assist them to work through their emotional distress and maladaptive behavior patterns by altering or correcting errors in their respective thought, perception, and belief. My name is Mike Waller, and I'm a certified sports psychologist. And today we're going to delve into the mindset of an athlete. And we're going to talk about 10 habits of successful athlete. Those habits that majority of athletes use that separate them from being just a regular athlete to one who's performing at the best of their ability. Firstly, we're going to talk about goal setting. An athlete does not vision or dream, they set goals for themselves. When they set goals, that means they put their plans and thoughts into action. Some people like to visually talk about their goals, or in some cases, like I did as a former top semi-pro professional tennis player, I used to write down the goals that I wish to accomplish. And I would put those goals on a wall. And I would, as I realized and reached those goals, I would check them off on my board and what have you. Secondly, visualization. Imagine and envisioning seeing those goals and plans that I have put together come through. As a result, looking at the outcome. So again, successful tool of an athlete performing is setting goals and visualizing those goals coming into fruition and looking forward to successful outcome. So secondly, tool or goal as a part of becoming a great, and not just a regular athlete, but a great athlete, is called consistent training and discipline. Discipline is the cornerstone of any athlete, separating them from just putting in mediocre work to work that will separate and make them a great athlete. A part of that discipline is putting in the training. You have to train as a part, not just training yourself physically, but also getting your mind, because sometimes there are days where you don't feel like going out there and you're just going to have to sit back and say, hey, if I want to become a great athlete, I have to get up whether I don't feel good. Because again, there are going to be days where you're not going to feel good. But that's where the discipline and the consistency of separating you from a regular athlete to a successful athlete performing at the best of your skills and ability. Thirdly, rest and recovery. Understanding the importance of resting and recovering, especially when your body is going through changes and repairing. As you know, as you train, your body go through different changes and what have you. And as a result, if you do not, after you put in a hard day work of training, if you do not allow your body to rest and recover from that training, you're going to risk the chance of an injury. And then you got to not only prepare for recovery from that injury, now you got to put in the work and the mindset and the discipline in order to recover from the injury, in which in the future I will be doing a show on how to recover from injury, especially if you sustain them while participating and playing your particular sport. Next is nutritional discipline. Just like as an athlete, a top athlete, you just cannot just eat any old thing. You're going to have to put forth a particular diet that will help you in order, meaning you're going to have to get your protein, your vitamin C, your vitamin E. because your body absorbs so much when you're out there playing basketball, football, soccer. You exhaust and expend so much energy, and if you don't have your body in a good nutritional condition, making sure that your body is alkaline where it could fight off certain diseases and things like that. And because an athlete is no different than a regular person, they have to maintain a certain balance and a diet in order to sustain and keep them fit to play particular sports. Because if you're just eating McDonald's, nothing against McDonald's and Burger King, but those kind of food, when you're training to be a top athlete, those kind of foods, you're just going to have to set it aside every now and then, in moderation. But for the most part, when you adopt a diet, a nutritional diet that is going to help you sustain your ability to play the sport, that's what you need to do. Mental toughness and resilience. I love talking about mental toughness because if you are not able to be mentally tough playing basketball, football, tennis, which again I've said repeatedly is about 70-80% mental, then that's where you're going to run into being pushed around, or sometimes negative thoughts will creep into your mind, and as a result, if you don't fend those off, then you will give in to those things, and as a result, your performance, like you will have what you call a lackluster performance, where you're going to be upset, not only, especially if you're playing on a team, it's going to impact not just you, it's going to affect the other players on the team as well. So it's important to have a mental toughness, and where the resilience come in at is that regardless of how hard it gets, you have to be resilient. You have to be able to maintain, to not give up, to fight, to the end, because that is what separates a good athlete from a great athlete from a good athlete, being resilient, being engaging mentally and physically. The next successful tool in becoming a great athlete is continue to learn about your sport and adapt it to the different changes. I've always said sport is no different in terms of being a business. Not only you're out there playing your sport, your particular sport, you have to understand the business nuances and intricacies that are part of that sport as well. So you have to be able to make those adaptations, because again, the owners are billionaires, the players are millionaires. They are still in control, and they are looking at the end result of you playing your particular sport. And so if you're not able to make the learning or evolve and becoming a student of discipline while playing that sport, then, like I've seen often during the season, off season, I'm seeing so many players being moved here and moved there because, again, those coaches, the general managers, the president of those teams are looking at putting forth the best, assembling the best players in order to make their particular team be the best that they can, because again, you're talking about putting seats in the stadium, in the basketball arena, when it comes to tennis, the same thing, putting seats in the seats at Wimbledon, US Open, etc. So again, it's about learning and adapting to your respective sport. Next, we will talk about time management. Balance in training, competition, personal life requires excellent time management skills. Successful athletes prioritize their responsibilities and make efficient use of time to ensure all aspects of training and their personal life is addressed. They cannot overlap. You have to learn how to separate them. When you're out there playing your sport, getting ready, you got to train, you got to be mentally focused, you got to be mentally and physically disciplined, And after you put in the time, the training, the effort, and energies, then your personal life have to be in congruent with it, because sometime in your personal life, what you're doing could interfere, especially if you get into it with your significant other or with a family member or a team member. If you don't know how to separate that, then you can see where it could interfere with your ability to go out there and play your sport. And that's one of the things that I'm learning and working with clients as a sports psychologist, is how they separate when they're angry and they're upset, or they had an argument with a spouse or someone, and they take that into their particular sport. And just like I, would say, as far as people in management working with their employees, tell them, leave your problems and situation at the doorstep, come in, do your job, and then pick them up as your way back home. The same thing with athletes playing this particular sport. Come in, if you have a problem, issue, leave it at the doorstep, come in, do your performance, and then pick that problem, if you choose to pick it up and take it back to wherever. But the best thing is to come up with a resolution in order to avoid it not escalating or going anywhere else. So again, time management, prioritizing, being disciplined to put all this together. Next, to thing that asset to a habit in becoming a successful athlete is what we call social support and teamwork. In individual sports, coaches, family, friends, and teammates play a vital role. You have to have the support of your family in order, especially when you're playing sports. It often, as you can see it so often in football, where more than likely the mother is in the stand, in some cases the father is there as well, and that does something to an athlete to look up in the stadium. I see it all the time in tennis. Recently, Carlos Alcaraz, when he won Wimbledon this past year, the first thing that he did, he went up into the crowd stand and celebrated with his family, his father, his mother, his brother, etc., his coaches, their friends. It was a team, a group effort, because even though you're out there playing, to look up into the stand and knowing that there's somebody waving the flag to saying, hey, you can do this, we got your back. The coaches, being there, someone you could talk to when you're having a bad day or what have you. You could talk to your coach because he or she, in a lot of cases, they have a plethora of experience and knowledge that will assist you to help to deal with that particular problem that you're having. Number 9, paying attention to detail. Success often lies in the detail. This often by refining your techniques, optimizing equipment, or tweaking strategy based on competition. I've learned by playing tennis over the years that different players that you play, you don't play the same player, the same strategy that you use. Even in basketball, I see how maybe the LA Clippers might play the Golden State Warrior, versus the Lakers. They bring in a different style of play against the LeBron James or Stephen Curry or whoever. You have to be able to pay attention to the detail, strategies, coming up with interventions and a skill set and a mindset to say, okay, in order to get over this, playing against this player, I'm going to have to incorporate or do this. So again, that is what separates a great athlete from a good or regular athlete, is being able to pay attention to the details. And lastly, self-belief and confidence. Belief is one ability and is paramount to you being successful. having the ability and the confidence while engaging, participating in that sport. Because if you don't believe in yourself, and have the confidence, you are almost incapable of going out there and performing to the best of your abilities. So again, I've shared with you as a mindset for athlete 10 habits that any and all athlete that you see out there, whether they be LeBron James, Stephen Curry, Coco Gauff, Jalen Hurts, Russell Wilson, etc., etc., etc. These athletes master certain skills and strategies and ability to be able that separate them from being a regular. That's why they have collegiate players and professional players. And so when you go from a collegiate player into the professional rank, you take it on a whole new level of understanding. Again, getting into the detail, making the adaptation, the adjustment in order to play that sport. You have listened to another episode of Mindfulness for Athlete podcast, where we focus on providing mental and psychological service to athletes that will increase and improve their overall skills and ability. Again, my name is Mike Waller. I'm a certified sports psychologist, and you can check us out on YouTube, where you can subscribe to MW Sports. Again, looking forward to talking to you again on next week. Stay tuned and keep it focused. Keep the mindset focused.